Yo, you twisted thrill-chasing freaks, welcome back to American Nightmares, where we tear into the darkest, most gut-punching true crime tales that'll make your blood freeze. Tonight, we're crashing into Crescent Pines, Georgia, 2025, where Riley Kane, a private eye, digs into a case that's more cursed than a horror flick. Murders, kidnappings, and lies twist tighter than a noose, all tied to a spiral claw symbol that hums with something evil. These ain't just crimes, they're true nightmares that'll haunt your soul. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop your creepiest case theories in the comments. Kill the lights, lock the doors, and let's dive into this American Nightmares terror with a scream. Crescent Pines, Georgia, April 2025. The town sat in a crook of Peach County, where oak trees dripped Spanish moss, and the air carried a sweet rot from the Okmulgee River. A faded mill town turned true crime tourist trap. Its main street boasted diners and motels, but the shadows hid secrets that hummed low, like a pulse in the earth. Riley Kane, 32, was a private investigator with a rep for cracking cold cases, her office a cramped room above a pawn shop, littered with case files and coffee cups. Tall, brunette, leather jacket scuffed from stakeouts, she had sharp eyes and a sharper tongue, her recorder always catching whispers for her podcast, Cold Truths. Riley was a loner, burned by too many lies, but the town trusted her, gruff, honest, always chasing justice. Riley's latest case came from a tip on X, a 1986 missing persons file tied to Crescent Pines High, where Sarah Marie Voss vanished after graduation. Sarah was a brainiac, ROTC lieutenant colonel, full ride to Georgia Tech for aerospace engineering, dreaming of NASA. But she never made it, leaving behind whispers of a secret pregnancy and a shady boyfriend. Riley dug in, finding Sarah's file in the county archives, yellowed and humming faint when she touched it, a spiral claw symbol scratched into the cover, glowing red in the dark. Weird, she muttered, ignoring the chill crawling up her spine. The file hinted at a drifter, Frank Delaney, who Sarah moved to Tampa with, but the trail went cold after a hit and run in 1990 left her dead, her son Michael missing. April 10, Riley staked out the Crescent Pines Motel, a sag and dive where Frank was last seen in '86. Her recorder caught a low hum, like static from a dead radio, whispering her name. Riley? The motel's neon sign flickered, on, off, on, and her room's door creaked open, swinging lazy in the humid breeze. Heart pounding, she called the sheriff's office, voice shaken. "Someone's in my room, 214 River Road. Doors open, lights going nuts." She stayed in her truck, watching the motel, the hum growing louder, like a voice in her head, whispering, "Find her." Deputies Ortiz, a chain-smoking vet, and Lee, a jittery rookie, rolled up, body cams rolling. "Sheriff's Department, make yourself known," Ortiz barked, stepping into the room, his flashlight cutting through the gloom. The place was trashed, Riley's laptop on the floor, case files scattered, a Polaroid of a bound woman humming faint when Lee nudged it. A closet door slammed shut, hard, making Lee jump, his cam glitching with static, showing a flicker of a child's shadow, gone in a blink. "What the hell?" Lee whispered, but Ortiz pushed on, jaw tight. In the bathroom, a mirror swung open, slow, like it was inviting him, humming low. A spiral claw scratched into the glass, glowing red in the dark. Ortiz's cam glitched, static forming the symbol, pulsating. "Room's clear," Ortiz called, but footsteps, fast, heavy, like a kid sprinting, echoed from the hall. He spun, gun drawn, finding nothing but the hum, laughing low. "Something's off," Lee muttered, voice shaken. They found no one, no prints, just the hum, and told Riley it was probably vandals, but her recorder caught a voice not theirs. Sarah, Riley, with a hum that made her teeth ache. Riley didn't sleep, the hum lingering like a bad dream. She set up cameras in her motel room, hoping to catch a prowler or a glitch.
At 2:47 a.m., her desk cam spiked. A case file flew off the table, slamming into the wall, humming as it hit. The footage showed a faint, translucent figure, child-sized, gliding past, eyes hollow, humming soft. Riley's blood ran cold. She posted the clip on X, asking for leads. Comments exploded. "That's a ghost kid. Get out of there. Check Sarah's past." The hum grew louder, her lights flickering, the spiral claw appearing on her door, scratched and glowing red. Riley dug deeper, finding Sarah's real name, Suzanne Marie Lane, kidnapped in 1975 by Frank Delaney, her stepfather, who raised her as his own, moving across states under aliases. Frank, a con man with a rap sheet, assault, bank robbery, abducting kids, called her Sharon Marshall by 1986, claiming she was his daughter. Suzanne, pregnant at 17, gave her first kid up, then kept her son Michael, born in 1988, raising him with Frank in Tampa. She worked as an exotic dancer, hiding cash to game welfare, until her co-worker, Cheryl Ann Cole, snitched, cutting their aid. Frank, enraged, beat Cheryl outside their club in 1989, and she vanished, her Corvette found at Tampa's airport. Frank and Suzanne fled, marrying under new names, landing in Tulsa, where Suzanne planned to ditch Frank for a new guy. In 1990, a hit-and-run left her comatose, old bruises hinting at abuse. Frank banned her friends, and she died 5 days later. Her death ruled a homicide, Frank cashing an $80,000 insurance policy. Riley found a 1995 case tied to Crescent Pines. Skeletal remains in a swamp, beaten and shot, ID'd as Cheryl Ann Cole after photos showing her bound and bruised surfaced in a truck Frank stole. The photos also showed a young girl, assaulted, later ID'd as Suzanne, proving Frank's crimes stretched decades. In 1994, Frank kidnapped Michael from his school, forcing the principal, James Carter, at gunpoint, only to be caught in Kentucky. Michael gone, later admitting he shot the boy, his body lost to wild hogs. Frank, on death row for Cheryl's murder, stayed silent on Suzanne's death, the hum growing louder in Riley's ears. The French Connection. Riley's case took a darker turn with a 1984 Crescent Pines file. A boy, Gregory Ellis, 4, drowned in the Okmulgee, hands bound, hat over his face, after his family got threatening letters from the Raven, a voice hunting revenge. The letters targeted John Ellis, a mill foreman, but hit his cousins too. In 1985, John's cousin Bernard Tate was arrested, then cleared, only for John to kill him, believing he was guilty. Gregory's mom Claire was charged, but freed in 1993, the case unsolved, the Raven's hum lingering. In 2017, John's aunt and uncle were questioned, but no one was convicted, the hum laughing in the files, spiral claws scratched into each page. Then, a 1994 case, Nick Carter, 13, vanished after a basketball game, his brother, Jason, refusing to pick him up. Nick was a troubled kid with a rap sheet, was thought to have run away, but in 1997 he returned from Spain, claiming a trafficking ring took him. His sister, Carrie, brought him home, ignoring his brown eyes and French accent. Nick was blonde, blue-eyed. A PI, tipped by a film crew, proved he was Frederick Bourdon, a 23-year-old con man. Frederick claimed Carrie fed him family secrets, and Jason, dead from an overdose, had called the cops months after Nick vanished, hinting Nick was dead. The hum tied all three cases, Suzanne, Gregory, Nick, to Crescent Pines, the spiral claw glowing red in Riley's dreams. Riley dug deeper, found in an old ledger in the motel's basement, humming when she touched it, spiral claws etched into its cover. It detailed a 1975 ritual by a drifter, Amos Reed, who bled into Crescent Pines soil, cursing the town for power, his spirit humming through lies and loss. Suzanne, Gregory, and Nick were his victims, their cases marked by the spiral claw, their truths buried in Amos's hum. Riley's motel room shook, walls bleeding red, child shadows whispering, "Riley!" She called the FBI, but Agent Holt dismissed her, saying the cases were closed, the hum drowning his voice. A priest, Father Cruz, tried to bless the ledger, but it burned his hands, the hum screaming, "You're 9!" Visions hit. Amos in 1975, carving the spiral claw, blood soaking the earth. Suzanne, beaten by Frank, humming her son's name. Gregory, bound in the river, the ravens hum laughing. Nick, lost in the pines, Jason's call a lie. Riley saw herself, eyes hollow, humming names with Amos, the curse claiming her. The motel pulsed, the hum a roar. Amos appeared, half static, eyes like embers, humming, "You're part of the story, Riley." Riley fought back, grabbing a crowbar from the motel shed, humming faint. She burned the ledger, flames humming red, the motel shaking, child shadows swarming. The spiral claw in the basement, carved into a beam, was the anchor. She swung the crowbar, the beam cracking, a wail tearing through, the hum warbling. Amos's shadow swiped, claws humming, but Riley hit again, the spiral claw fading, the shadows screaming, the motel still, the fog retreating. Riley fled to Atlanta, calling the sheriff, voice shaking. "Something's in Crescent Pines, humming, killing." Deputies searched, nothing, no blood, no shadows, just the spiral claw, faint on the beam. Her footage showed static, a child's shadow and her name and Amos's voice. Riley quit her PI gig, but the hum followed her, faint in her dreams, her scar itching. In 2026, a tourist vanished in Crescent Pines, their case file humming, spiral claw glowing red. The town stays cursed, waiting for its next lie.